We are live, back once again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Liv, welcome to the Uncut and Unfiltered podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Say hello to everybody. Everyone at home, welcome, Liv. Always Stevie, Andy, and joining us as well. Thank you so much for joining us, gents. We are up in the new studio, aka my living room. So hopefully everyone is nice and relaxed here. We have got 4 quite special drams that you bought to sort of represent your journey in whiskey so far, Liv.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do in the whiskey world? And what are these drams represented, Liv?
So, I am Olivia, or Liv. I mostly get called Liv. I've been doing a podcast for the past few weeks called Liv'in The Dram.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Absolutely.
And I started off in the whiskey industry at Murray McDavid, independent bottler. Just recently left them. I'm moving on to work in whiskey in Edinburgh. And I've only been in the whiskey industry for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So I'm relatively new, but learning more all the time.
Are you enjoying it?
Yes, I'm really passionate about it. I've definitely grown a love for it. So I brought along some drams to kind of represent my journey through the industry.
Okay.
And into the future. So the first one I brought was a Murray McDavid one, of course. Kind of represent my journey with Murray McDavid.
Tell us.
Spirit Speyside exclusive from 2023. Not many of them about now, because they sold instantly. Really, really nice drams. 5-year-old Manic-More. It's been finished in Justinos Madeira.
54.7, nice, big, tasty.
Yeah.
God, and look at that colour for 5 years old.
It's natural.
That's mad.
It's natural.
That's natural colour,
yeah.
100%. Woo-wee! Murray McDavid getting some very nice casks there.
Yeah.
And what cask type is this, sorry?
Justinos Madeira. So it's quite a small producer.
331 casks out of the barrique. Cask strength?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Single cask. Can't see anything about it being cask strength. Natural colour, non-chill filtered. It's a high strength if it's not a cask strength. Cool. Will I pass it to you? You can
Oh, go on then.
do the honours. Thank you so much. You brought it. You bore it. Thank you very much for sharing. Why did you pick this dram? Obviously, you've worked with Murray McDavid the last year and a half. You must have tried so many whiskies, probably stuff that's not even officially bottled by them.
Yes.
What made you choose this one?
So I picked this one because the Spirit of Speyside, if you've not heard of it, massive whiskey festival up in Speyside every year. Lots of different producers, and luckily this year it was my first year going.
Okay.
And not only that, Murray McDavid were hosting the main dinner and the Keeley. We were the main sponsor, so
you got fully involved.
I was fully involved. I was fully in there and at the deep end.
Cool.
And it was a good week. It was challenging, but it was rewarding. And I thought I'd bring this dram because Murray McDavid represents where I've been, but it's quite a young dram. It's 5 years old, right? And the colour from it and the flavour doesn't lack. It belies its age.
Manic-More as well.
Yeah.
Because to me, Manic-More is light.
Yep.
It's so delicate.
Yeah.
And never looks like that. Definitely at 5 years old anyway, So this is interesting to me as well. Very, very cool.
Yeah. So it's a nice fruity one, which kind of represents what I like in whiskey as well. I've got a massive sweet tooth, so
me and you both. Cool. All right. Go on the side. Yeah, I felt fine.
It kind of represents that. And yeah, it's just really, as I was saying, it's a young dram. I'm relatively young in the industry. I've only been in it a year and a half, and I'm learning more all the time, but it belies its age.
Okay.
And it's got
same as you.
There we go.
Cool. Love it. All right.
Nice.
A dram representative of Liv.
So
love that. Let's get it in the glass. Let's see what we think. Please.
Should I pass it around or what? Go ahead.
So a year and a half in the whiskey industry. How are you finding it so far? What else have you done before? What made you move into whiskey?
So basically, when I left school, I was in 5th year at school.
Okay.
It was going into COVID, and I was like, I don't want to do school online. What am I going to do? Do you know what? I'll just go to college. So
All right.
I went to college, and I went and did a HND in business.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Because at that point, I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. What am I supposed to do? But I thought, do you know what? Better not waste time. Why don't I just go and study business? I was relatively okay at school, and I thought, do you know what? Nice orange scents. And honestly, at the start of that year 2020, for some reason, and I couldn't think anything worse now that I'm doing this, I wanted to be like an investment banker or something like that. I don't know why.
Well,
You have ended up in a very different industry.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's a lot of money there, I guess. That's
Yeah, I think that was probably
That's kind of what I wanted to do when I was about 15, 16, funnily enough. So it's weird that you wanted to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Interesting.
"Do you know what? I want to go into investment or something." I was like, and rather than just sitting about school and doing like the subjects I was going to be doing in my last year were like photography and, you know, fun subjects. But
Yep.
like, why would I sit and do that when I could be doing something useful? So I've always kind of been like that. I'm always kind of moving, doing something. So I was like, go study HND. So did that for about 2 years. Had like kind of like part-time jobs. Like I worked in a pharmacy. Worked in a pharmacy during COVID. That was not good.
Not the best.
yeah.
That was not good. And then I worked in just Sainsbury's, just in the shop. And I was coming to the end of my HND and I was thinking, do you know, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm looking at jobs, so I thought, do you know what, I'm going to look at kind of salesy jobs. So started looking for sales jobs and it came up at ACO, who owned Murray McDavid, a junior sales executive role. So I was like, that sounds quite interesting. To be honest, don't know that much about spirits, but I thought, do you know what, I'll try my luck. I'll like apply for it. And actually, partner I had at the time said to me, you're never going to get a job in sales. You've got a nose piercing, you've got tattoos. I know, had quite funky hair and that. He was like, you're never going to get a job in sales. And I was like,
To me, that speaks outgoing person. Outgoing people are the best at sales.
Well, but also when it comes to like whiskey at the minute, there's still like an image of like stuffy old men with a smoking jacket and cigars, right? That's
Exactly.
that's exactly what I'd be looking for.
yeah.
Like, not the
No, I know what you mean. That's what you would expect.
Be careful, Ian.
That's
No, I know what
you'd
you mean.
expect.
I know what you mean.
But obviously, like, you know, to me, I was like 18 at the time, and I was like, oh, maybe he's right. But I was like, do you know what, I'm just going to apply for it. And then, needless to say, like, that ended, broke up with him. And who's laughing now? Because now,
Exactly.
not only I had a job in sales, because I went in as a junior sales executive, and within that, I was kind of getting involved in a lot of different areas of the business. Like, I was helping out the bottom logistics team a bit. I was helping out with kind of website stuff, sales, like even like wrapping pallets and stuff like that.
Get
Because
stuck in.
honestly, because when I joined, it was like a relatively small company. Like, they had just got this new big headquarters at Livingston, and the office was relatively empty when I joined. There was about 8 people. By the time I left, about 30 odd. So quite rapid expansion. But I was there kind of in the start, I guess. I mean, ACO had been about for about 20 years before that, but really it started as like a kind of cask broken business, and then had moved into brands and had taken over Murray McDavid brand from like his Brookladdy era, basically. So went in and was getting stuck in about loads of different things, kind of helping my bosses with like customer meetings and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I didn't really have a path for what I was doing.
Okay.
And there was a girl who was doing their social media, and she was doing it remotely. She was from like Singapore or something.
Okay.
And she left. She left. And then they were like, oh, we need someone to do this. Like, we need someone to pick this up. Oh, something you fancy doing. Like, you're young, you don't know about this social media.
Say that. I'm the youngest out of us 3. I know the least out of us. Terrible when it comes to
So I
socials.
was like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then I kind of just grew arms and legs, and I went into marketing. But most of my marketing role was like most of the social media, looking after all the platforms. I kind of ran like a wee Murray McDavid Whiskey Club on Facebook, ran like tastings on that, with help of Dean, who's the head of Whiskey Creations. And did lots of different things, went to loads of different events, and it was a good job. I really loved it. And it's been a good start for me in the industry as well, because through that I've met so many people.
For sure.
And that's what I love about it. And as I've kind of grown into it and learned more about whiskey, because to be honest, I've only liked whiskey since like November last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you kind of stunting, pretending that you were sort of enjoying it, but
I
not
mean,
really?
yeah.
You get behind it a little bit.
Because I only started liking it when I went to, it was Glasgow Whiskey Festival, which was the first festival I ever went to with Murray McDavid.
So what dram changed your mind?
I didn't manage to get it for today. I was really trying to, but I didn't manage to get it. It was a Murray McDavid Glengarry 11-year-old.
Glengarry.
In it, like
Love
finished
that.
or first.
I love that. Glengarry is a brand that you would not hear about much, and the fact that that's what's changed your mind, I fucking love that.
And it was finished in a Tokay cask.
Okay.
Again, rare.
Oh, I like
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. What was it about that made you go, oh?
I was like,
Because I remember when I was there, very luckily for Stevie's, like, I get it now. And I remember my one, and it's such a special moment. What was it that made you go, this is amazing? What was it about that?
it was just kind of like, I've said I've got like a sweet tooth.
Right.
And I think I had it in, just the nature of it, because it's been, well, I like wine as well. And I like white wine.
Okay.
I like quite a sweet wine. So, kind of coincides. But I had it and I was like, oh, this is nice and sweet. Like, it was quite oily, which is something I quite like in whiskey as well. Just really a bit too easy to drink, probably. But I had that and I was like, do you know what? Maybe whiskey isn't so bad. Maybe I should try a few more of these.
For sure.
So that's how I kind of got started in actually liking whiskey. And then...
And now you've got your own podcast, so it's obviously going quite well. Fantastic.
it's going okay.
Talking of a sweet tooth, this is
Wee.
jammy.
Yeah.
You're getting like Terry's
Tart,
chocolate
though. It is
orange.
tart.
Yeah,
Jam.
you got the tart.
Terry's chocolate orange.
Got that kind of like chocolatey.
Takes me back. Takes me back.
Yeah.
Right. To me, this is very, very tart, very tannic, delicious, but an excellent example of why it's been bottled at 5 years old in my mind. Because if you left this to 10 years old,
Oh, yeah, it would be
your
bitter.
mouth would
Yep.
just be dry as anything.
And
Be
also
way
the
overcooked.
colour.
Chewing on wood.
Yeah, it'd be black.
And it's interesting because, like I say, Manic Mort to me is one of those really light, really delicate spirits. And to me, is like long-term maturation is take care of it, put it in a really special. This is a really cool little rendition and something I would never have thought of doing, but actually works
This is first fill, right?
quite nicely.
in the-
I would imagine. I don't know. It's active for sure. It's active.
It's-
Yeah, for 5 years, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the colour is insane.
it's crazy.
And it's sold like hotcakes and no wonder.
Ah,
Do you mind me asking what was the RRP on it? Roughly, if you remember?
About 65, 70, I think.
For 54.7.
Sorry, it's not single cast though, is it? Is it small
Yes,
batch?
Actually, it's
Oh, it is.
330
Oh,
filling bottles.
That's value for money there,
Yeah.
in terms of like what you're getting.
It's quite
in the
well
glass.
integrated alcohol. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, it's just at the right point. It's just starting to get that little bit too tannic at certain points. It's lovely, though. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And I thought it was a good example as well of like how whiskies can surprise you quite a lot as well, because I think a lot of people overlook whiskey and overlook people because of age. They
Fair
think,
enough.
young, whatever. They just immediately...
We've had a bit of that, haven't we? Yeah, the young people on the block. I know maybe not as young as you, or the beard maybe makes me look older than I am, but we're still relatively young in the
Yeah.
industry. And yeah, I think that sometimes there is that little bit of like, we've been here, we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
sort
and
of thing.
especially like, I don't know if you get this, but I don't know if it's because I don't want to like stereotype myself, but I don't know if it's because I'm young or because I'm a woman or what, but quite a lot of times, like, see when I'm at whiskey fests and stuff, people just, sometimes they do, but a lot of the time people just assume that they know more than me.
Right.
Even though I'm the one working the stand.
People
Yeah.
at my age or something.
You will get that, unfortunately. Yeah.
But you probably get that as well. I think it's just like,
Yeah.
People are just ignorant. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. Don't take it to heart.
And the old-
what you could do is just show to
The
them
old boys
very
and
calmly
girls,
that
they're
you
just
know
very
more.
set in their ways, you know.
Exactly.
So
Unfortunately so.
you just got to nod and smile and
I think the good thing is,
Go
what
on.
I've noticed anyway, and hopefully what you've noticed as well, but you tell me your opinion, especially seeing as you worked quite a few festivals.
yeah.
So we haven't really worked any festivals, so to speak. We've been working it from the point of view of running around with a camera,
Drinking.
but we're never behind the stand. So it's a very different experience, I appreciate. But I think that what I have noticed slowly over the past sort of 8 or so years is it is getting a bit younger. We are now collectively starting to not push the older generation out, but kind of welcome them
bring new
into
trends in
what
as
we're-
well.
What we're doing, and
Yeah.
what we're all about. And whiskey is for everyone. And like you said, it's not for men in their smoking jackets. Put it in a cocktail. Enjoy it how you want. And I think that as that continues, hopefully it will open up a little bit more to everyone. Because like you say, no one wants to feel like they're not part of the club if it's something that they enjoy and they're there and they're putting their heart and soul
Yeah.
into it, especially for someone like you working behind a stand. You don't want some ignorant twit telling you, "Oh, well, actually, no, mate, I work here. I know." Do you know what I mean? Calm down. You enjoy the whiskey.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Even like my family, like my cousin was up from England the other week, and I had time off, so I was like, yeah, like let's do whiskey things because he's quite into his whiskey. So we went and we did like Johnny Walker experience and like went to Glenkinchie, the sort of things he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But still, like he was saying to me, like, "Oh, do you know this? Do you know that?" I was like, "Yeah, I do."
It's interesting hearing you say that from a woman's perspective. From our perspective, I would say we get more of that because we're British or certainly English sounding, right?
Yeah.
We've moved up from the UK, from England, moved up to Ayr recently. And I think a lot of people looking at us kind of like, "You're English, you don't know anything about Scotch whiskey. Shut the fuck up," sort of thing. Even on some of our socials, we get crazy comments sometimes.
Yeah, we get ripped.
All right, mate, calm down.
What do you know?
I saw it because ACO, the company I worked for, they actually were started down in Gloucester.
Right, warehousing, wasn't it?
Yeah, like warehouse and like cask brokerage, but it was started down there, and then operations have moved up to Scotland. So a lot of the team are Scottish, but the core team, founding members,
The owners, yeah,
are English, and I reckon they probably get that as well.
for sure.
But it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Just got to ignore the ignorant people, get on with it, and enjoy ourselves. I think.
I think there's more good people than bad.
I love to hear that. And I think that as well. You know what? I think there's, as with any walk of life, any profession, anything you end up doing, there's always going to be someone that you don't like, that you don't agree with, that acts a bit of a fool, really, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that the more we can do this sort of thing, the fact that you've got your podcast, the fact that we can, show up to shows and share all these whiskeys and have these sorts of conversations, I think that's what's important. Just keeping conversations open, making sure everyone feels welcome. And calling out the people who think they know everything when they don't. I think it's all good fun, right?
Well, that's definitely happening, isn't it? You can see that generational thing happening.
The shift is taking place. We just need to keep pushing forward, working together as a community. And I think,
and hey, we'll be the old fucking ignorant people one day.
Hey, listen,
there'll be a whole new line of.
Don't worry, I'm nearly there already in my age.
You're not that old, are you? I love this. This is cool. This is surprising. Exactly what you said. It surprised me. It's kind of changed my mind. I was kind of a little bit nervous when you said to me a 5-year-old Manic Moor in this fresh. It's delicious, though. It's weird. The tannins in it are growing on me.
It's certainly unique.
Yes.
And I thought it was kind of a good representation of my...
It's a great start.
I guess.
It's a great start.
A great
strong start.
Very
good
strong.
I know. I feel like the next one's going to be a bit underwhelming after that. It was a pretty strong
Oh, no, listen. Strathmill. This is the Flora and Fauna collection, huh?
Yeah. I brought the Strathmill because it's just what I've been enjoying lately. Okay. I mean, it's open. I'm sorry, I'm not... It's not being open here. I've already
most of the bottles we share are open. And just once again, guys, everyone at home, Liv has bought these 4 bottles out of the goodness of our heart, sharing them not only with us, but with you guys at home. So thank you so much. It's really, really nice to share whiskey. We do have one for you. You said that you wanted to try one of the Whiskey Baron whiskies. Obviously, Uncut and the Whiskey Baron are separate entities, but we're very happy to share our whiskies with fellow enthusiasts. Should we pour a Strathmill and dual wield as we move forward?
Yeah, we can do it.
I've finished the Manic Moor, though. It was so good. So I'm not
It
going to be
was
single.
so jammy and juicy.
Yeah.
It is jammy. It really
I
is.
loved it.
It's kind of, I don't know if it's the donuts in front of us. Again, Liv bringing some incredible treats for us. It's kind of bringing me to this jammy donut thing. And I think it's probably
The placebo.
the power of subliminal messaging. Yeah.
I know.
Sake, they
But,
outrageous.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I brought the Strathmill because it's what I've been enjoying lately, and it's quite a good rep of my taste in whiskey. And also, I think it's one of those drams that you don't often find unless
Myself a trough of fucking Strathmill there. Sorry, Liv, I didn't mean to do that.
It's okay. And it's one of those drams that is obviously part of Flora and Fauna, so you don't really find it that often because it's kind of all part of like Diageo blends. But it's one that you can find with independent bottlers, but you don't often see it, to be honest. In the grand scheme of things, it's not
No, I hardly see it. I'm not looking for it, but yeah, I hardly see it.
often. 12 years old, just kind of standard hogshead, but it's nice and sweet, and I think it's got a kind of, to me, it's got a slight char to it. I don't know if it's just been my taste lately, but see, the past few times I've had it, I've been like, a little bit of char. I'm putting ideas in your head here, but it's just the dram that I really like. It's just quite nice and sweet, and also it kind of represents how I've been learning a lot more about loads of different whiskies lately.
Okay.
Just because, you know, as I said, been Murray McDavid, and I've been in this world of Murray McDavid, and don't get me wrong, so many different whiskies they've got. I mean, in the warehouse, alone, like in their kind of dunnage warehouse, there was like over 90 different single malts. There was about 160 different cask types, like stuff like that, like lots of different
Proper
whiskeys.
treasure trove.
Yeah, obviously didn't get to try all of them, but
God, I think you probably wouldn't be here if you had. Right?
I know, I'd be like, but I've definitely had the opportunity to have a lot of different whiskies that have been finished in loads of interesting ways, but just by Murray McDavid.
Aye.
And now I feel
Branching
that
out a bit.
I'm kind of branching out a bit, you know, I'm moving on to a new opportunity. I'm going to be working in a shop, and that's like a completely different setting to where I have been working. But with that, I'm going to be getting to have lots of different whiskies all the time,
Aye.
which is great.
For sure. Cool. All right.
I mean, I could anyway in my spare time, but it's an expensive
It's an
hobby.
expensive hobby. It is. And this is the thing. Again, like us, you're young. And to be getting into whiskey, I think a lot of people are kind of like, how do you afford it? Right?
I seem to like the expensive hobbies. I've got this issue because, like, I'm not really much a gym person, but I like skiing.
Okay.
It's not accessible, is it?
That's a nightmare.
I know, it's a night.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an expensive
Whiskey.
hobby.
Expensive hobby.
Skiing, yeah.
I'll go to the bank for it, but
Yeah.
The good thing about whiskey, I feel, is you can have a collection. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like an investment until you slowly open the bottles.
You keep telling yourself that, mate.
But by the way, I know. It's the only way I can rationalise having so
That's
many
what I
bottles.
do too.
As you slowly open them, you're like, well, I've held this one for 5
Yeah.
years. And
Like,
I
do you know
bought
what?
it at £100.
Yeah.
It's now worth £300. So I'm actually earning £200 here. Like, oh, funny. This is lovely. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have had this before. I've had this before.
No, I haven't actually.
you not?
No.
This to me is kind of like really good bourbon matured
Yeah.
whiskey. And it's weird that you said it's a bit charred because, again, I think I'm open to subliminal messaging today. Maybe there's some rechar hogsheads or something in there.
yeah.
Just from the point of view of it is that little bit more rich and caramel, and like you say, just that touch of charring on top of it, as opposed to the lightness and the
Almost
vanilla
like
side.
a creme brulee, kind of like.
You're just thinking about that
donuts
donut.
as well,
yeah.
mate. I think that's it. This is all subliminal messaging today.
I see what you did there, Leo. This is why you bought the donuts, you know. They all
yes,
represent a
but
dram.
yes, correct. It can't
But I
be
know what you
creme
mean. It's
brulee.
sweet, it's creamy, and it's got that toasting of that smoke on the top
Yeah.
there
Yep.
for me. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if it was just my taste lately. Because it seems to just be a lot I've been trying lately. I've been like, char.
All right, fair enough.
But no,
Just
I'm
a
obviously
new
not
new flavour that you've come across that your mind is really locking into, maybe.
Well, yeah, it's like when you first try it, it's like, jam,
Right.
jam. And it puts that idea in your head about like sherry cask. It's like jam.
This is yummy. This is very yummy.
it's a very
And again,
easy-going dram.
I
you know.
always
You could drink
I'm
this all
somebody
night.
who will rip a 40, 43, 46% dram for being just watery and for them trying to take the piss out of it and earn too much money. Ultimately, it all comes down to financial things most of the time. This works perfectly.
Yeah.
I think
43.
if it was,
It doesn't need to be anything else.
exactly.
It's
it was
just-
higher strength, it would maybe like kind of take.
Take away. Exactly.
I don't even think it needs water because like, I'm like a bit of a whiskey ice person. If I'm just sitting drinking in the house, then I'd have ice with it,
Okay.
which I get ripped for, but it's just the way I like it.
Hey, listen, that's the way you like it. That's what you
But
like.
I don't think that needs it, to be honest.
No. It
And
works.
especially after having that one. This one's like, easy peasy.
Yeah. Correct. This is a walk in the park.
It's almost dangerously so, right? You could see yourself being like, oh shit, I've had 5 of these now. Like,
And the room is swaying.
yeah.
What's happened? Yeah, no, for sure.
I've woken up and I'm in Strathmill.
It's yummy though.
Do you,
So-
have you had, sorry, Jake.
No, please. Crack
I was just going to say, have you had many of the other flora and fauna range of
Quite a
bottles?
few, but like mostly these kind of hidden malts, I guess.
Yeah.
I've really had through Murray McDavid.
Right.
Trying to think what else.
It is amazing working for or as an independent bottler because I appreciate what you mean by you've kind of seen almost like the whiskey world through Murray McDavid's eyes thus far,
Yeah.
and now you're looking forward to branching. And I completely appreciate that point of view. It's really exciting for you. But I think what's so cool about what you've experienced and what we experienced at the Whiskey Baron is that ability, like you say, of kind of looking at any and all whiskies. It's not that we're a distillery and we produce this.
Yeah.
And this is what we specialize in, and this is our da 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 da. It's like, try this Manickmore, try this Glengarry, try the and these are all the different cask types. Like you said, how many cask types did you say they had on the management?
Has got 120, 160, I think, maybe.
Like mad crack. Just so many different types of cask that you can then. Oh, and we've got this style of distillery, but in all these different cask. Sorry, no one was looking at you anyway, mate.
Never do, mate.
But it's so much more kind of, it does open your eyes. And I think as a newbie, you know, same as me, when I started for an independent bottling company, it was a newbie. And it's a great way of opening your eyes to kind of a bit of everything. So as you move forward and you say you're working for Whisky?
Yeah.
WHISKI.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And what is it exactly that your role is there? Are you able to share?
So I'm going to be working in their shop.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be doing like kind of all their social media type thing.
Cool.
Hosting tastings.
Driving them forward. Cool, yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So what is it that you're most excited about from that point of view? Is there any brand that you particularly want to collaborate with? Is there a style that you want to push? Is there any sort of ideas that you have, or are you just looking forward to
I'm looking forward to hosting my own tastings, certainly.
Okay.
Because, you know, I feel like you go to tastings and a lot of them can be a bit samey. You know what I mean? And I guess I'm not your...
Ian's face says it all there. Definitely they can be a bit samey.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all the same, but I feel like I'm a bit of a different proposition from your typical person who's going to be hosting a tasting.
Would you feel that you can add differently then?
I don't
Not to put you on the spot there, Liv, sorry.
I think sometimes when you do tastings, the person presenting them can sometimes lack a bit of personality.
I would 100% agree.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's
More
a very
often
young,
than not.
I don't know if that's a very young person perspective.
Probably.
It probably is, to be honest. But
Probably.
like, see, in my eyes, but if I'm going to go to a tasting, I'm going to be entertained. As
Right,
much as
yeah.
I'm there to try the whiskies, like,
It's an evening out.
exactly, it's entertaining.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky I go to the women's only whiskey club in the UK.
Oh, aye.
Oh.
The Pot Still Whiskey Girls
Oh, is it?
in Glasgow.
Oh,
I go to
fair
that
enough.
like once a month.
Okay, cool.
And they get loads of different brands in to do tastings. But more often than not, the people presenting tastings are women. And I don't know, it seems to be a good way forward. I don't know, it's always...
Do you find that that's a little bit
good
more...
company as well.
Okay, and do you find then that those tastings are a little bit more lively, is a bit more of an experience?
Yeah, because like you've got loads of people around you and like you all kind of know each other because you all go to this club. And that's something that I got introduced to by a former colleague actually. She said to me, "Oh, you should come along to this, like it's great." I was like, okay, so I went and then I just felt like so welcome in that and, you know, it's enjoyable. He's cracking into this.
I know,
Couldn't
listen.
resist.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't judge me.
Fair enough. I hear, so that's really interesting. And what is it then that differs from your experience going to kind of standard brand tastings versus the Pot Still women's nights that really makes a
think a lot-
difference to you?
I think a lot of
Is it that they're younger?
sometimes, but I think it's a lot of like what makes a good tasting as well as your company, who you're with, and
100%.
also whoever's presenting as well. Like I think sometimes it really depends what tasting you're going to, but some people they don't make it feel like an atmosphere where you can speak out. I think because sometimes like
Okay.
you know
That's
exactly
the thing you get
where,
about, yeah.
I
you're
always
scared
feel
to
like
say
I
a
can
note that
speak
you're
out. It's
thinking
not an
in
issue
in
for
case
me.
It's like wrong, in case it's like a
Yeah.
wrong note.
I feel like whenever I've hosted like tastings, like it's difficult because people's expectations have been set by other tastings they've been at, and it seems to bring out the inner introvert in everyone, and people expect to sit there, arms folded, and be
Just listen.
yeah. Here's some facts about this. It was 6.7 million liters.
You're not in a classroom.
Yeah,
Right.
and then you might get a bit of banter by the time people have had like dram number 4 or 5, right? But like,
But that's not natural, is it?
No,
That's
it's
an
not.
alcohol-induced
yes,
sort of...
precisely. And it takes it can take people like an hour plus to get going. And I think maybe I don't know. Maybe it's because they get bored with facts to start with, or maybe because, as I said, people's
down to the
expectations have been
Down to the host, I think. I think
But yeah.
the vibe, the atmosphere that's created when you walk in there, when they start talking, as you say, if they're kind of like, "Hi everyone, yeah, tonight we're going to go through the," you know, all of a sudden you're going to everyone, you know. Whereas if you've got someone maybe like you Liv, that I no doubt is like, "Hey everyone," blah blah, blah, all of a sudden,
yeah.
Everyone's a bit more
and-
comfortable.
yeah.
I agree with that. And like I say, look, for me, I never have a problem speaking up, but I think it's the opposite problem. I need to maybe just shut the fuck up and calm it down a bit more. But it's not good that people feel that way at tastings. And like you said, the idea that there's a wrong note that you could give or something like that is it's crazy.
I think a lot of people like probably feel like that at tasting. I mean, you
but it's so subjective. Yeah, no, I think that's so bad. What is it then we can do? What do you feel, Ian? What do you feel, Liv, like we can do to kind of change that within a tasting? Is it just like Stevie says, very much down to the host?
I mean, I think it can be, yeah. I mean, I went to a tasting like at my new work the other week actually, and my new colleague who was hosting it was great, and that was like actually one of the best tastings I've been to, because it was very encouraging for being like, oh, like speak up, like there's not a wrong answer, no one's allowed to laugh and stuff like that. And there was some of the banter with the people, and the other people on the tasting really enjoyed it, and they all spoke up because they felt from the start, right,
everyone's welcome here. Everyone's opinion matters. There's no right or wrong.
Exactly. So that's something I'm looking forward to kind of creating for people, making it a nice, comfortable atmosphere.
I think that you're 100% right, the atmosphere. But like part of that atmosphere as well comes even down to like how some of the tasting rooms are organised. I feel like so many times it's designed for people to like sit like in rows.
In a classroom.
In a classroom.
Why do we sit in a circle?
Yeah, exactly.
So that is so true. That is so true. They are always set out. You've got your little tasting pad with the 6 whiskeys and your little writing note, and you sit next to each other, and you do end up just kind of like, please, sir, can I taste the whiskey? Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. Maybe something that can change moving forward. Yeah, it's strange.
And sometimes I think as well, as I said, like I think your company, who you're with, definitely counts. But sometimes you can't help who you're with. If you're just doing a tasting that you've like booked to go on to, you're with absolutely anyone. And some people go and it's maybe their first whiskey tasting and they don't really know like what to expect or what they're doing. And some of them just go, scalp it. And then like that's their tasting.
Well, this is
but
it.
Then there's
and again,
people who are whiskey like geeks, I guess, who will be like.
But I disagree with that, because again, it's like, look, I think that there is an element of being guided.
Oh, yes.
And so your host should not only make you feel comfortable, make you feel like everyone's opinion matters and that you should all get involved. That's one of our biggest focuses any time that we've hosted a tasting, is to really hear what people think. Because as an independent bottler, you've worked with an independent bottler, you need to understand what people are thinking about the whiskies that you're bottling so that you can improve or change or whatever it is, right? But yeah, I don't know.
Pre-drinks.
Loosen everyone up, you reckon?
Well, just like, it's kind of like a wedding, right? It's like pre-drinks, mingle, a bit of like, conversation before you go and sit down, because by the time you get to the table then, you're relaxed,
I would like to think
people.
We could do it without lubricating people without...
Yeah.
I'm joking, but like a kind of community
before we all sit down behind our desks.
Because all of a sudden you turn up, you're waiting in line, you get let through the door, you sit down, everyone's quiet, and I think that sets the scene then.
Bin off the fucking desks, get people around some small tables, get a couple of snacks there.
Give them all stilts. Just have some fun.
Give them a donut.
What are you on about, my guy? Stevie's gone off on one.
Right, so, I mean, seriously, I think it would be a lot of fun, just for, like some things, like with this Manickmore. Like I was thinking, like not only is this delicious by itself, but you could make probably like a really fucking good like Negroni out of it, like put a bit of vermouth in it or something, and a big chunk of ice, and that would probably go down really well. Like stick a few kind of cocktail ingredients on somewhere, and encourage people to like mix the stuff up, like blend them together. Like,
I think the other thing with tastings, and we experienced this recently, we had a wonderful guest, Chimmer, on. Anyone who at home wants to watch that episode is just here. Really, really cool trying whiskeys blind, because again, we went into it without expectations, kind of almost challenging ourselves from the off. And so straight away from the go, we were all talking, because we were all trying to guess what's this and what's that, and what do we think? Is it good? Is it bad? What age is it? What style is it? And so all of a sudden, it's not, right, guys, and here you've got a 10-year-old, and this is what you should get. And it's like,
I think
what do you get? What do you, bringing people in?
For me as well, I think that the facts about whiskey and the heritage, it's important and it's interesting, but I don't think it should be the main part of tasting. I mean, it depends what you're going to tasting for, but really, I think it should be about what you are tasting.
Yeah,
the enjoyment of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think actually you're right. Like tasting mats could almost be like a bad idea, because it's laying out what's there for you. So you're anchoring people and setting, expectations. Like with this, like you said, Manic More, you went straight in being like, oh, it's going to be really light and whatever. But actually, you should just pour that into the glass and be like, what the fuck is this? This is great.
For sure.
It's so easy just to have people being like, oh, I'm going to expect this now. Like, a crazy example of that is recently, and this is no like disrespect to the Thompson brothers, they've just put out this, I think it's a 5 or 6 year old Sutherland blend, and it's got all of the distilleries. So it's got Kleinleach.
You know exactly.
Yeah, and they put what's in it,
Okay.
and it has got some Brewer in it. But it's like 466 bottles, and across those 466 bottles, there was 3 CL of 1982 Brewer.
Okay.
Someone did some maths in a chat group I was in. That makes it 0.007% Brewer per bottle.
It's an interesting amount of Brewer to put in. No one put it in. Fair enough. Okay.
And I bet there's going to be fucking people out there that's like, oh yes, this is all of the Sutherland distilleries, and as I'm guessing all of these old school Brewer notes out of it. Fuck off, you have 0.007%. Bollocks.
Fair enough. What I would say to that is, and we talked about, indie bottlers and batch bottlings and putting stuff on the label. So I have to respect the Thompson Bros there for denoting exactly what it is.
I think it's really fun that they've done it.
I think it is as well. What's interesting, though, is, and I agree with you, what will people take from that?
Yeah.
And what will people read into it? But that's kind of their own problems. That's kind
This
of...
is one thing with Murray McDavid as well. Like, that Murray McDavid bottle there, that's not a typical Murray McDavid bottle. It's a special one, and it's got information on about kind of like the whiskey festival and stuff, and it's got a bit of information about the dram.
Aye.
But the usual Murray McDavid bottles have heaps of information on them.
Right.
Which I guess is kind of one of their merits, because they like
I think
give a
it's
lot of information.
so important.
I like it. Yeah, I want to see more of it. You know,
And especially with they've got a range that just came out like last year, Cask Craft, and the proposition for that was kind of like, you know, it's like a beginner dram, I guess, or I guess kind of daily dram. They were like 44.5%, so relatively easy to drink. And on them, it was like cask type, distillery, what you can expect, like the general kind of profile.
Aye.
And then on the back, it had like, this is the cask, what you can usually expect from the cask. This is the distillery, what you can usually expect from that.
Love that.
This should be the result. And it makes it easier for people to understand if they're not really into whiskey.
Well, that's it. But not only that, if you are into whiskey, it makes you able to look out for, oh, okay, that's the sherry influence, or that's the... One of the best examples I have of this is the Weems, the Bunnahabhain. It's 20
The Untold Riches.
Untold Riches. Thank you very much, Ian. You're a good man. And it was like $4 and like 30 something hogsheads, and they denoted every single cask and the exact percentage that took up with. And so I was able to very easily, oh, okay, that's the tropical notes coming through from the hogsheads here. And this is that damp kind of mushroomy, dunnagey notes coming through from the sherry. And all of a sudden, it made me appreciate the dram so much more. So I love that Murray McDavid are doing that. Is something that we talk about all the time, giving customers, giving consumers as much information so that they can move forward making, the most informed decision possible. Because like I say, whether you're a seasoned drinker or a new drinker, it's going to give you plenty of information to then move forward and sort of act on.
On that note, like a little shout out to Tora Vague. I think they are so good about that. Like, they do the phenols from the peat as it goes into the cask and then out as well. There's so much information, and they present it really clearly and concisely as well. For a young distillery, they're doing such a good job with that information side of things.
One that we need to get on the pod. Definitely. Cool. Liv, talk to us. Are we on Dram 3?
Do we want the third one?
Always.
I'm
Let's
ready.
get Dram 3 in the glass. And we triple park.
This one.
I tell you what, I'm still, sorry not to talk over you, I'm still really enjoying this first dram. You have shocked and surprised me. Well done. My day is complete. Don't need any more.
I thought it was a good one. This one is an exclusive to whiskey, where I'm going to be working.
And another fresh bottle. Thank you very much. Very
It's
generous.
A green whiskey.
that's a second green whiskey I've ever seen working in the industry, and the other one was
Oh,
ours.
Glen Toppers 22.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That almost looks like lime cordial,
Yeah.
It's
That one was more of an olive oil. That is a lime cordial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
I think that I brought
That's such
this
a good colour now. Lime cordial.
lime cordial.
Please.
Pint of lime
when you
cordial,
start
please.
your new job, you need to get that.
I'll write that in the caption. yeah, so not one that I've tried yet, obviously. It's a
Cool.
new
Well,
bottle.
that's exciting.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
exciting for all of us then.
Exclusive to Whiskey, they very kindly gave me this to share with you today.
Oh,
to
thank you,
represent-
Whiskey. Then.
Thank you, guys.
Amazing job.
To represent
We will
where
leave
I
a
am
link in the description.
Yep,
for
we'll
you guys.
definitely leave a link
yeah.
in the description. 100%.
going. To kind of represent where I'm going, and also I thought this was a good one as well because it's green, and I think a lot of people overlook grain whiskies. I actually quite like single grain.
We've been saying this for
Now there, come on, Liv. Tell us
Like
why.
single
Why do you love single grain? What is it that stands out to you?
It's got a nice, I think quite often, more often than not, it's got a nice like creamy quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice and smooth. And people as well, I think they've got this like preconception that it needs to be old.
Aye.
And
It
this
needs to be taken care of.
exactly like single malts. Like I've brought a few that have been a bit surprising. The 5-year-old, that's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't need to be able to be appreciated.
How old is this?
How old is this? Yeah, go on.
18 years old.
I mean,
That's
I mean,
old enough now,
okay,
Jesus
hold
Christ.
on,
I know,
hold
but,
on.
like, I'm just
I think
gonna
you were
I
going
was
to say
about
it's
to-
10 or something.
I was
No.
about to say, you've obviously watched the podcast where I say that grain gets good when it gets older. So I thought, okay, how old is that? I thought you were going to say 8 or 5. But 18 is getting up there.
But again,
Tell you what,
like
though, for grains, Liv is right in as much as most people with bottle grains 20,
30, 32,
Yeah, correct.
35.
Right,
I mean, I got a Thompson Bros that had a 32 in it for 35 quid, and I think 60% of that was 32-year-old grain.
Amazing.
You know, or something like that. You know, so again, you're right. Yeah, 18, I guess, in the big scheme of things for grain.
And it's a
is young.
collaboration with Douglas Lang as well, in particular.
Awesome.
North British.
Exclusive.
I love North British.
Yeah, I do like.
Oh yeah, you had some North British casts recently, didn't we?
Sorry?
We had some North British casts recently, didn't we?
Oh, sorry, I'm knocking my mic over. We
Did we have some?
we have some.
Oh, we still have some.
We've got loads.
Got loads.
Got heaps of them. Yeah. This is green. Lime cordial. I love that.
Takes me back to my youth in a pub, not being able to drink.
Cask type. Bourbon barrels, bourbon hogsheads. We know.
Got to be, right?
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah.
Definitely, it's green on the nose as well. It's not only green in colour. Green on the nose.
Yeah. Refill hogshead.
Cut grass. You getting that?
Refill hogshead. That's what it was. When I was nosing it there, I was thinking, what is it? What is it? It's
Freshly
like
cut
fresh,
grass.
But it's grass.
Yeah, freshly cut grass. Careful, I've got hay fever and I might start sneezing.
it's going to make the whiskey more green, mate.
Oh, come on, mate. That's disgusting.
Refill hogshead. No colouring, no chill filtration.
God, if there was colour in it, you.
Someone's got the wrong dropper out.
Exactly.
Oh, you put the lime cordial in that again.
Single
Fred,
cask.
what have you been doing?
Single cask strength. What's the percentage of
Single
this?
cask.
Yeah.
And it is, I can't remember the percentage of it. Just shows how much I looked at it. Absolutely terrible.
It's not a finished article. in my mind.
48.4%.
48.4.
Interesting.
Weird. Tastes higher.
And quite low for a grain, because again, normally the filling strength, I mean, often 70s or 80s even, right? Sometimes possibly even high 80s.
That's weird. Really weird. Because it
Pretty
doesn't.
unique one.
It doesn't taste to me, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts, especially yours, Liv. You haven't tried this at all, you know. Although these are your new employers, so maybe we should be really nice. It doesn't taste as well integrated as you would think, given that the ABV has dropped. Now, did you say it was cask strength, or it doesn't denote that?
It doesn't know.
I would imagine then that they've watered this down. And the question for me is, why have they watered it down so much?
I don't think I would like it any higher in strength though.
It just doesn't taste
Because it
well
tastes-
integrated to me.
No, I understand exactly, yeah, but I don't think that comes from probably the strength. That could come from time in the cask or any other aspects. But to me, that tasted stronger. I thought that was up in the 56,
That's what I'm saying.
57. You know, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely unique. It's definitely different from the other ones. But yeah, I definitely get that kind of fresh note.
Yes.
It's
Very green. Yeah, I would say cut grass.
definitely on the fresher end of the grain scale, because I feel like, well, especially kind of like, and lowland whiskies as well, they can either be like on the sweeter side or on the more kind of like fresh.
Aye.
There's still some sweetness in there, though.
Fresh or they're like really tropical to me.
there is some sweetness, but to me, it's not a traditional grain sweetness. Like,
No.
it almost tastes like a kind of a lowland malt. If like someone was to give me this blind, and I might be like Glenkinchie or something.
About how old? 7, 8-year-old?
Yeah, yeah.
Young. And that's the thing that really stands out to me. It's really weird that it's a low ABV. They must have watered it down quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think that's what's throwing me. Excuse that racket. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting.
What do you think,
Nice and
Liv?
smooth though.
Very
Yeah.
unique.
And for me, the kind of like where I can feel the alcohol is on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
It's not a back of the throat one.
No, you're right. There's that kind of like spice dancing.
Yeah, a
Dancing
little bit of
around
spice.
there.
And see, now that I'm more stuck into it, I'm getting the kind of tropical note.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of like banana, I guess.
Kind of
Oh,
like
do you know what? It's like a not quite ripe banana.
exactly
Yes.
what I was going to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were talking earlier about char as well.
Yeah, char.
I get some char.
Yeah, get a bit of char, but it's like I feel like it's not too much though.
No, not yeah. It's just like someone's like it's like someone's got that unripe banana and just tried to like barbecue it or
Yes.
something.
Yes.
barbecued
That
unripe
is
banana.
it. That is it. Jake, you missed that one.
I'm so sorry, guys.
A
Crazy
barbecued, unripe banana. These two
I
have
haven't
just
done that before, to be honest. Fair enough.
No?
Right.
Yeah,
Give me a minute. Let me think about it.
you say that, but you get people coming up with all kinds of notes. Like a while ago at a what was it? It was a Teeling tasting. There were a bunch of us around a table, and the main tasting note, it was finished like this Irish whiskey, this Teeling, had been finished in a Brazilian something or other cask. The main tasting note that people got was urinal cake.
Oh, lovely.
And you then sit around the room and be like, what the fuck are we like? Like, no one's licking a urinal cake. Or I hope you are not licking urinal cakes, other
Yeah.
people on the table.
I'm sure
But,
there'd be some
yeah.
category on some websites for
And
it.
again, like, you know, with old sherry drams, right, you get furniture polish, right? So yeah, I've never
I don't know
barbecued
if I
and...
get the barbecue. I get the unripe banana. I don't understand the barbecue bit that you're talking about.
we were getting a little bit
It's
charred.
definitely grown on me. The more I have it, I'm like, tropical.
I'm not as keen. First one, blown my mind. Quite actually interesting. Really changed my mind on it. Strathmill I've tried before. It's lovely. Very easy going. This is weird. And I think it's a really good example of grain in the making.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not the finished article.
This is like...
And sorry, Liv, that's not to take away from you bringing a wonderful dram. Thank you very much for sharing it. Just one man's opinion. But
That's the good thing about whiskey.
well, there's no right or wrong. Correct.
taste it
Correct. We're not going to fall out, are we? We're all okay here.
I'm not the biggest fan of grain until it gets past 25, right?
That's wrong though, because
Yeah.
you tried our 15-year-old Gerban. You enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you like that. You like that Big Easy. That was like 11-year-old North British that we
That
had.
was all right for what it cost and everything, right? And again, this, I'm surprised again, 18, it's still up there, 18 years, remember? Long time. You could do a lot worse. So no, yeah, it's good. And what does this retail at, do you know? Testing you now, aren't I? Come on. £8?
Maybe. Or less, actually. It could be less, actually.
How are you going to sell it to us if you don't know the
I know,
price?
I know. I wasn't so much thinking about price today.
Yeah, that's fine.
Already joking.
Yeah. My new employer just very kindly gave me this for you to try.
For £80 for a single
Try
cask,
and let me
18
know.
grain,
And
Yeah.
it's interesting.
it's interesting.
It's a point of interest, definitely. I think it's something you should try.
Yes.
Get your head around grain, whether you like it or don't like it. I think it's definitely
Yeah. I think
very
about
cool.
definitely what you said though. I think if I'd like blinds tasted that, I would actually probably think it was like a lowland malt.
That's
So
interesting.
younger, yeah.
That as well. Very interesting. Fair play.
Yeah, and almost in that regard, it's like it's super technically and geekily interesting to like nose and explore like over probably even a longer time than we're able to do here. And it would be super fun at tastings as well, especially
Yes.
especially a blind tasting. It would be amazing.
Correct. I think that this is the sort of thing that you'd end up shocking some people with in
Yeah.
blind tasting for one reason or another, right? People would either like it or not like it or whatever. I think it could be quite divisive, Dram. But again, as Liv just said, that's what's important. There's no right, there's no
Yeah.
wrong. It's exploring, it's understanding, it's figuring out what you like ultimately. Interesting. the Glenfiddich 15 is something that I'm keen to move on to because I just love it. And we slate Glenfiddich a lot for the 12.
Well, for the 12, yeah.
For the 12, and because what? Did you say why? Oh, I don't want to start riffing into Glenfiddich again for no reason.
Poor old Mark.
To put it briefly, Liv, seeing as you asked, and she did ask, I'm not just ripping into you here, Glenfiddich, for no reason. I just feel that it is pish water. It's so watery and rubbish, and there is so much more in that dram. If they just left it at 50-something%, you would get nuts out of that. I think that the orchard fruits they talk about that come through in the 15 would start appearing. It's just really watery. It's really quite boring. It's not really a whiskey to me.
It's apple bobbing water.
That's what
It's been produced to a price, not a quality.
Correct.
And also just to appease kind of like, I want a whiskey. It doesn't need to taste of anything. It just needs to be a whiskey, you know? That's kind of how whereas the price jump to the 15 versus the quality jump.
But do you know what? It's actually interesting because I think the first time I had whiskey, like, from a bar,
Right.
I bought, well, I say I bought it. My friend had bought me it from a bar, and I was like, get me out, like, my whiskey. In fact, I didn't even ask him. He just got me one.
Right.
And he brought it back, and he was like, there you go. And he was like, guess what it is? And I was like, And then it's the first whiskey that I actually managed to guess.
Was Glenfiddich 12?
And I guessed it. I was so proud of myself. I was like,
And did you like it?
look me.
Where does it stand for you, the Glenfiddich 12?
Right, so I brought the Glenfiddich because the 15-year-old to me is better than 12-year-old. I'll give it time. I'll give it time.
Agreed.
But I bought Glenfiddich because it's one that I always pick when I'm out. Like, see if you're just at like a standard pub, not a specialist that's got all these different drams.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's accessible. And price point isn't too bad as well. Especially when it's on offer in Sainsbury's.
I would disagree. I would say that the price point is fantastic.
It's a tank. It's gone up, though, since the last episode.
You know what? Everything's going up in price, Stevie. I'm not going to slate
All right,
too
mate.
much for it. It's an expensive world.
But it's gone up
nowadays.
quite a lot as well.
15 years old in the bottle. What are you paying for this nowadays, Liv, roughly?
I paid 41 for this.
Perfect.
And Sainsbury's.
And guess what? How much did we pay for the 12? We paid 45 quid in a thing.
Did you? That was
not
a corner. That was a
whatever.
corner
If you were
shop.
to get it on sale in like
I
Sainsbury's
think we
or
got it at
Tesco.
Sainsbury's. It just wasn't on sale. But yeah.
To me, the
That is the... I'll grab
okay.
that.
I'll get it.
But still, you know, so 42 quid, so £41. Liv, how much did you pay for this, sorry?
41. But that was on offer.
Yeah, well, it's always on offer. Near enough.
But that's
And
good. It's been a long time since I bought it, and I think I still paid probably £35 for it, and I'm talking at least 5 years ago, and that was still an offer.
We all
So,
got the Glenfiddich in glass.
apart from you,
So I picked the Glenfiddich because, yeah, obviously there's value for money element, and it is everywhere, it's accessible, but also, to me, it stands for where I want to go in the future.
To Glenfiddich?
Long to...
William Grant stands.
You never know anywhere, but it's a good representation of, you know, Glenfiddich is one of those brands that has this, like, really, like, rich history, and this, like, really
It's an awesome
well-known-
brand.
And
It is an awesome brand.
their brand ambassadors are awesome.
Mark,
Agreed. Mark, UK brand ambassador. Big shout out if you don't know.
the most handsome man in whiskey,
He is
according to some.
seriously
According
cool
to some.
dude. Very suave, very good looking. The way he dresses, fair play. Also, Charlie Metcalf, global brand ambassador. So much love, so much respect for him, and we should hopefully be collaborating on a few different bits of content with William Grant soon. Very exciting for us. I don't blame you. They're brand ambassadors.
And they're
cool.
a good rep in that sort of sense. Obviously, brand ambassadors are, like, amazing. And I know from, like, when I started to Murray McDavid, didn't have a clue about whiskey, liked whiskey, now I'm getting more into whiskey with my podcast, and I've really been working on kind of building, like, a personal brand, I guess. Like, kind of getting my name out there, I guess.
You're doing well with
but
the
I
name of the
know
podcast, in fairness.
Thank you. But I know that what I want to do long term is I want to be a brand ambassador.
Okay.
Now I know that, and that is completely different from
A financial advisor. An investment banker. What's happened, Liv?
I know, but I think that if you're going to look up to any ambassadors, then you could look up to Glenfiddich. I mean, there's loads of great ambassadors out there, like, disclaimer, there's loads, but, you know, award-winning ambassadors.
Hey, listen, you're
Aim high.
absolutely right.
Aim high.
Absolutely
So
right.
that's the kind of story behind that.
Dib, dib, dib.
Trying to be inspirational.
I love it. And you know what? I think the 15 is such a good dram to sort of represent that because it's accessible, like you say. Anyone really who enjoys whiskey can afford. I think affordability is a touchy subject for some people and difficult to talk about. I appreciate whiskey is generally quite an expensive hobby, as we've already discussed, but I think the Glenfiddich 15 is quite accessible to most people who want to spend money, 30, 40, 50 pounds, especially if you're buying by the dram in a pub or something like that. They're generally, 3, 4, 5 pounds a dram, quite accessible for a 15-year-old single malt whiskey. Yeah. Not only that, though, to me, and again, like I slate the 12, and I don't mean, everyone can enjoy whatever they want, each to their own. But to me, the 15 stands head and shoulders above the 12 from the point of view of being a premium dram. And again, the 12 is watery, it's rubbish, it's lacking in all those flavors. The 15, I think, is the same strength.
It is, yeah.
But it just has so much more character, so much more to give. And so again, it's not for me, ripping into it because it's weak or something. It is about a flavor point of view. And I think that choosing the 15 is an excellent way to sort of showcase, like you say, that premium brand, whether it's from a brand representative point of view, the liquid that they're putting out, or the history and the sort of heritage that Glenfiddich has, because it's such a cool brand. Yeah. I mean, it's mega, mega, mega stuff. Joint biggest producers in Scotland, right?
I think so, yeah.
And their distillery is beautiful.
Right?
Yes.
Really, really beautiful.
Stunning.
It's like,
Yeah, copper heaven.
really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so nice. So I kind of brought that to represent my big ambitions, I guess.
I love it.
Where you've been,
that's awesome.
where you are, and where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Aim very high.
Liv, talk to us. What's your favourite dram on the table that you brought thus far? And why?
That's really hard, actually.
At the minute.
But at the minute, I think I'd probably say the Strathmill today.
Okay.
Today, the Strathmill.
Okay. Why is that?
It's so easy.
It is so easy. It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's so
And it's got a
good.
really nice kind of, like, slight oiliness to it, I think, and it just makes it, like, so easy.
All right.
And saying that, I've not actually had a bit of this yet, so that may well
Well,
change.
I'll let you enjoy a dram of that. I'll come back to you now in a second. Ian, Glenfiddich 15 has been in your glass probably more times than you'd like to admit. What are we thinking? Where does Glenfiddich stand for you, particularly the 15?
I mean, the 15 is one of the few Glenfiddichs that I've bought probably more than once.
Yeah.
And also took the travel retail 15 to a party when I was going abroad to a few friends for a New Year party at the start of the year. That, again, very good dram. Very accessible for the price. That's a much higher strength. I think it's like early 50s. And with the duty-free kind of discount card that I've got, I think I only paid about 55, maybe £60 maximum for that. So given the extra ABV, again, really good. And it went down so well at the party. People were like, had a few different bowls and people were just like, right, yeah, I want that one, please, that one.
That's gas. Fair enough.
It's very consistent. And again, I think for... without sounding like patronizing, for non-whiskey people, like, again, it's a fantastic like entry into whiskey and something that's just very easy drinking, but still offers something for people that have been drinking whiskey for a long time.
And this is exactly it. I hate that the Glenfiddich 12 is plugged as if you're an entry-level drinker, get in here. No, just spend £3 extra and get in there, actually, because there is so much more to it. And I worry that people trying the Glenfiddich 12, will maybe not get offended because it is so nothing. Sorry, being a bit too honest.
They've got
The 15 just has that much more. It's characterful. It's alive. It's whiskey, right? It's a dram in your glass, and you know that you're drinking it, and there's stuff to talk about there.
Yeah, and a bunch of their special releases are also like fantastic, like the experimental series. I think the Orchard experiment one seemed to have a bit of a mixed reception. I really like that as well.
I was between that and getting the Orchard one, because I've not actually tried the Orchard one yet.
It's actually much better than the 12 and a non-age statement. And I think they talk about apples and pears, like I say, for the 12. I never have found them. I look so hard every time I get a glass of the 12. And God, like if Mark ever... I I do my best to be polite. And just, the Orchard Experiment series actually has apples and pears in your glass. There is an element of that fruit that I searched so hard for in the 12. And so to me, as I've said before on the podcast, it's kind of like, I feel they should be upping the strength of the 12 and selling that as a more premium dram. Because I think there is so much flavor and so much potential within the 12. But we just need to give it its room to kind of do its thing. But anyway, let's buy the bike, chat about this shite all afternoon. Glenfiddich 15, definite winner. I'm loving this. I think that this is probably it's between this and the Strathmel for me today. Is really, really just going down. Like, it's too easy. Too easy. And I think that for me, the Mannockmore, you changed my mind there. I've always said Mannockmore has to be matured for a long time and in refill casks, preferably bourbon, and just let the spirit shine. But actually, it's weird. I don't love every element of it, but it's challenging and it's cool and it's yummy.
For 5 years old, it surprised me
And for how much
so
money?
much.
60 quid?
Yeah.
Give or take, 60 something. Yep, lovely.
You know,
Between 60 and 70.
Right in my basket there. Right in my basket. Very, very cool. Point of interest.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it originally retailed, it was around about 70, and now it's like 75 or something. Like, people are reselling it, obviously.
Aye.
But if you're wanting it, then you'll need to get it. 'Cause
Aye. This is it, definitely.
That's
no, actually, that was one that because I still live with my folks. But it was one that my dad actually bought, and he was looking at the price. He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to give you that." I was like, "Just give me it." Like, I want it, it's for drinking. Let me drink it.
Fair play. Very generous of you to bring it and open it today.
Thank
very
you.
much. How are we doing? We're all fairly full on the drams, are we? Do we want to move on to the last one or not?
what is the last one?
Well,
The more?
seeing as Liv has
Oh,
brought us-
ours.
Yeah. Seeing as Liv brought us so many wonderful drams and some amazing donuts, how are they, Stevie?
They're good.
Are they as good
That's all I
as
can
they
think about. Yeah, I'm just waiting for this to end so I can get tucked in.
Sounds
Oh.
right in.
Yeah, I mean, till the end of this episode to shove it down.
Just dunk it. Have a more nut.
I what was it for Steph's birthday? Bought her birthday cake, obviously, and we had old fashions, and we were dunking the cake in the whiskey. It was amazing.
You put that to your Instagram story saying something like, "Don't judge us before you try it."
Yeah.
I was heavily judging you, dude.
Try it with the donuts,
Yeah,
and then apologise.
Mate, sipping on like bits through your dram then, but the rest
Delicious,
of
mate. Chewing
So
on.
glad that I went into that wee donut shop and not the Krispy Kreme shop.
Oh,
streets ahead. Aye.
I know. I saw it. I was so lucky it caught my eye. On my way to Central Station, I was like, donut shop. Must get donuts.
yeah, might have to stop by there when we go back to the airport, mate.
Yeah,
You know,
if we do that, why not?
on the plane.
Yeah.
I'll not make it home. Cool. Let's crack open our Bamore.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you want to wash a glass? Sorry, would we have a new? We don't have any new glasses.
I'm alright. I can do
Take a glass to rinse out.
an NZ glass.
Please. Boys. And seeing as I poured myself a trough of your Strathmel, please fill your boots there. Take as much as you like. Quite an interesting little roundup of drams. I've really enjoyed this afternoon. Very eclectic, right?
Yeah, very.
Very, very different to, just a weird little mix. I like it.
No, I love the story behind it. I'm not sure I could so clearly and eloquently pick like 4 whiskeys
To
that
represent
go.
your journey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? It's actually quite difficult.
It was so hard.
I appreciate.
hard to pick.
You know what? You've done very well, Liv. In fairness, and like I say, it just goes to show. I think your podcast is going to be a massive success. And actually, for anyone who's listening, where can we find your podcast for everyone at home?
Find me on Instagram,
Okay, cool.
whisky_live.
Whisky_live on Instagram, and then
And you can find me on Spotify. You can find me on, I think it's on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts.
okay. And what's it called?
Liv'in The Dram.
Liv'in The Dram. Love it. Very, very cool.
You can get the link on my Instagram.
Cool. All right. Well, head over to her Instagram, and we can all jump on to the next episode. You've done. Is it 2 episodes thus far, or you've released?
3.
Is it? Yeah. Cool. I was looking at it the other day. You'd only released 2. I will need to catch up with the 3rd episode. That's exciting. How are you finding it's going?
Yeah, good. I mean, I kind of just started as a kind of hobby thing, I guess. I mean, I was interested
Same.
in I was just interested in doing one because I was like, I quite like the opportunity to, when I started doing it, I was doing it with Murray McDavid, basically. So my plan for it was like, go through all the different departments within the team. So obviously I did Dean, his whiskey creations, he was like the second episode. And then I left Murray McDavid, so that plan's went out the window. But
So what's the idea with it now?
I'm wanting to speak to people from lots of different distilleries and
Cool.
independent bottlers, etc. So
Awesome.
yeah, still kind of finding the feet, but we're getting there.
You'll get there. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I've just been enjoying a few weeks off before I'm diving back into whiskey.
Good.
Though my time off has been mostly whiskey, to be fair.
It always is, right? Absolutely.
Have you started yet?
Have I started?
Yeah.
No, I start on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good.
And the shop's in Glasgow, yeah?
Edinburgh.
Oh, Edinburgh.
Yeah.
My apologies. And they've only got the one shop? Or have they got a couple? Or
No, they've got whiskey, which is like joined onto whiskey rooms, which are kind of the restaurant whiskey bar thing.
Right, okay.
Which is where I'm going to be working. But then they've also got like the company in general. Have got
Sure.
like pubs and stuff like that.
Sure. Oh, cool.
So
Plenty to explore then.
yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely it's a different setting, but I think it's good in the sense that I'm going to be getting the opportunity to host my own tasting.
Yeah.
And the team seem really nice, and I'm looking forward to it.
And not just confined, obviously, independent bottler, but yeah, not confined to one brand.
I mean, I love that in a sense. Like, I love being able to like talk about a brand and know it inside out and talk about it for 5 million years. But
You'll stretch yourself more by
Yes.
working with so many of them.
Exactly.
exactly.
You'll learn so much more so quick.
And I feel like as well, like I say, like, oh, I'm only young, but I feel like I have the benefit of age, getting into whiskey at like a relatively young age.
All of the older people are going to be so jealous. To be honest, I'm even jealous of you that you're that much earlier in your... Because this is the thing. I'm 8 years into my like professional whiskey journey now. What the fuck? Nearing on 10 doesn't even seem real to me.
And what do you know?
I'm such an amateur dude, right? I do this completely for the love of it. I feel like
I'm joking, everyone.
the foot of the mountain. No, but I do feel like I'm at the foot of the mountain. There's everything ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I'm nearly 10 years in now, so it's gas. I envy you. You've got so much to look forward to.
And I think I've got that added benefit of like, a lot of, well, it depends who, but a lot of bigger companies like wouldn't even, as I said, I want to be a brand ambassador down the line.
Right.
But a lot of companies won't even take on anyone to be a brand ambassador until they're like 25.
Right.
Just a kind of industry standard, I guess. But I am seeing that as I have 5 years to really just be an absolute sponge, learn as much as I can, meet as many people.
Sorry, you 20, Liv? Wow.
You're not supposed to ask a woman how old she is.
Yeah.
Apparently not, but
Very
she gave it away, right? She gave it away 25, 5 years. Fuck, yeah, you've, you know your shit. You've got, I think you're going to be all right.
I've got the added benefit of time, and I don't think there's any right time to do things. That's not what I'm saying, but like, just from a personal standpoint, I'm like, right, 5-year plan, so much knowledge to take in 5 years.
But also
This is your long-term goal. I think it's hilarious. You start off telling us you talked about investment banking and all of this, and now you found your feet. You found something you're obviously so passionate about. Yeah. We're talking us through these 4 drams. You've got passion. You've got knowledge. It's exciting. It's clearly what you want to do, which is so lovely. And as you progress through your journey, I think what's awesome is, like you say, kind of like by the time you're 35, 40, 50 years old, the amount of knowledge you'll have compared to the 50-year-olds in the industry now is significantly more. They are, by and large, obviously you've got a few people who do stick in the industry long term, but it's not that many people. And so if you do want this as your long-term career goal, you're going to be like a fountain of knowledge to most people, which is awesome.
A lot of it is about putting in the work as well.
Definitely.
Understand that, and I've definitely learned that from working at Murray McDavid.
And that's what we're doing now, guys. We're putting in the work for you guys at home, making sure we finish these 5 drams.
Honestly,
It is hard. Jesus Christ. Thursday afternoon in the heat. Woo. Putting in that work. Right, Liv?
Yeah. So difficult.
What do you think? And please, I was honest.
Don't hold back.
Be as honest as you want. If you like it, you don't like it. Rip me a new one. What do you think of the dram?
I don't even think I've tried it yet. I can't remember. I should take this.
All right, we'll give you a minute. We'll give you a minute to figure it out. To be honest with you, Liv, this is a 25-year-old Balmoral.
Right.
It's
You see,
bottled.
that's so interesting.
It's bottled at cask strength. So we've done nothing to this. So if you don't like it, that's fine. We love it. But it would be really interesting to hear your thoughts as you progress. Why do you think it's interesting that it's Bowmore? Or do you think it's interesting that it's 20?
Because I'd say Bowmore.
We've been to Isla. Bowmore.
Bowmore.
According to them.
So yeah, it's for the locals. But I mean, I don't think there's
They
any.
just got more of a lilt to the Bowmore.
Is there? I mean, like with a lot of things, like
There's no right.
there's no. Yeah,
I think we all know what we're saying. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We get it.
I'm sure if I stroll along to Glengarry and called it Glengarioch, then they'd probably get upset. But
mean,
They might slap you a little bit.
that might be a step too far. But
I mean, out of everyone here, Ian, you're the one that gets ripped for pronunciations the most for distilleries.
oh, I'll normally fuck something.
Arberg, Glenfiddich.
Yeah.
There's a few.
There's a few.
Sorry, mate. I hate to, you know.
Embarrassed, man. Jesus Christ.
It's all right. He doesn't want to say it.
Sitting
I've said
crying in
what-
my corner.
I
over
say
here.
much more stupid things. I'm getting like toasted apricots on this now.
I'm getting heaps more salt than I would.
Salt?
Yeah.
Normally. It's a salty jam anyway. But
Yeah.
I'm getting heaps more. It's
Yeah.
obviously been open
I get
for a
that.
minute.
You probably noticed the theme with the drums that I bought, that none of them are peated.
Aye. You don't like
I'm not opposed to it, but it's
I
not
wouldn't
my
be your
favourite
style.
quality.
Okay.
Um,
We put the wrong one of our drams in front of you then. We'll send you.
Where's that Ben Nevis? No, you don't have it here. Oh, shame. That's a fruity.
It's
tooty.
sold out. I don't know, mate. We've got like
Yeah, but you probably go and stash
salty, like,
down the back of the
maritime
sofa or something.
logo.
You think it's sorry what?
Like kind of maritime.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how.
Heavily, right?
Really like it's like
So to me, you don't like peat. Have you tried much old school Bowmore?
no.
No.
Really.
Okay, so
I mean, this.
this is a 97 hogshead, so I just wanted to remind myself.
Older than me.
With the 90s casks, so this is older than you, yeah? Of course it's 25. That's so cool. First of all, I'm glad I gave it to you for that reason alone. I think it's so important, particularly whilst you're young. I try and do this every year. I try and drink a whiskey that is as old as me. I've done it every year since I was 25.
It's not hard for me.
This year at the minute, yeah, it gets difficult when you hit 29.
It gets fucking expensive.
And it starts getting expensive once you
When you hit
30.
50, yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Steve.
Gas. But it is. No, I think it's so important to drink a whiskey as old, if not older than you are, for as long as you can, because like you say, it gets very expensive very, very quickly. And I think it's such a cool thing to do. But when it comes to older school Bowmore, the reason that I picked this and what I love about this is it's that classic, like you say, maritime sort of style, but it doesn't have any of those Parma Violets sort of
No.
soapy,
Lavender.
what's it called? Potpourri.
Potpourri,
sort of
yeah.
style.
because
Quite a lot of old school Bowmore has that. And it's this weird off note. Some people look for it. I personally fucking hate it. It
Nah,
just doesn't.
bullshit.
Yeah, no, it doesn't suit it. Do you get that on here out of interest then?
Not really. No.
A little bit or not at all?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's got slight kind of. I get the kind of perfumey thing you're talking about, but it's not
Right.
too much. It's pleasant.
But how does the peat stand for you then? As somebody who doesn't really enjoy peat.
It's okay,
Aye?
but it's a different smoke than what I was expecting.
Okay. What were you expecting?
I mean, it's very maritime. I kind of expect that anyway because it's like Isla, but like the smoke is like a lot more kind of barbecue. And I don't know if it's because you put this idea of like saltiness in my head, so I just think barbecue.
Right. Fair enough.
I mean, I normally find Bowmore quite ashy, regardless of whether it's the Parma Violet side or the more maritime side. And this is a little bit more kind of smoked fish, like barbecue fish, than.
That's what I mean.
It's weird that you're saying that. I got it when I first tried this, but I am getting those kind of like very light fruity notes come through on the barbecue side, like those apricots, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as the salt, obviously, and the smoke and all of that. I'm not getting the fish, man.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the fish.
Yeah,
Did
know
you just
where
got?
you're
Fish,
coming
but
from?
it's-
I'm more along Stevie's vibe, but I get where you're coming
I get the fish, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised me.
What were your tasting notes on this, Jake? Out of interest, do you remember?
The official tasting notes.
Yeah. Did you do these ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
you did.
written pretty much all of our official tasting notes, bar the
Original,
release,
yeah.
first three.
Yeah. Because this wasn't like the. Oh no, that was a Lechake. That was the really. Yeah.
I like the chicken.
This is one of my. This is actually probably my favourite dram from a taste point of view that we've released, but it is quite a different sort of.
I think it's an acquired taste.
You know what? You're probably right. I've had a few people say that sort of thing to me.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just there's an audience for it.
Look, absolutely. I think when it comes to 25-year-old but more anyway, right, there's a specific sort of audience for that. But it's interesting to hear your thoughts on it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my family, like, I talked about this in the first podcast I did. Like, my family's into whiskey, I guess, but, like, not too into whiskey. But
they weren't your reason for getting into whiskey, though, were they? No.
My granddad on my dad's side, he is a massive, massive Springbank fan.
Mm-hmm.
Loves Campbelltown whiskies.
Okay.
Obsessed. They had the caravan down there or something, so like they were always
lucky.
And you know, over the years, like he's been down there and he's bought various Springbanks and he's kept them. And there's on 2003 Springbank, that's some sort of special edition, some sort of like anniversary.
Sorry, is that your birth year?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say you're latching onto that 2003 very tightly there, right?
Some sort of like anniversary edition, some sort of thing like that.
Okay.
And he's just kept it. It's not been opened or anything. And there's a few of them. And
you eyeing that up, yeah?
I mean, there's a few in there that I'm like even like, because they're from Linlithgow.
Sorry, say that again?
They're from Linlithgow.
Okay.
So even like old like distilleries that aren't even about there anymore.
Aye.
There's like an old like Linlithgow one.
So are you going to be stealing these away, or are you going to be convincing him to open them with you?
No, don't open them. Keep them. Just
all right, for you though.
No, not for me.
No,
I won't be getting them.
No,
I'm my dad that gets them for me.
Okay,
I've got well to wait for them.
Fair enough.
But like it's really interesting because like they've always just like sat there when I've been like younger and stuff, and they've always been there, and they're there like in the cabinet, pride of place, and loads of like really like rare miniatures and stuff like that. He's quite a collector.
Aye.
And until I knew anything about whiskey, I'd just be like, yeah,
cool, whatever.
And now anytime I go in, I'm like inspecting them all, like this, that, and next thing, I'm like looking up,
praying to them all. Fair play. Have you been to Campbelltown?
I was going to say I haven't. Yes, I have, but not for whiskey.
Okay, you got to get down.
Yeah, but now I need to go for whiskey.
100%. You've got to get down.
I just my lasting memory of Campbelltown was I went down when I was like wee, like my family, and my sister had a massive allergic reaction to a horse.
That's not a memory you want.
I know. I need to get a new.
Especially now you got the podcast. You want to get down there. The Springbank Eat, Sleep, Dram, Replete. Sorry, stumbling all over that. Jake. Yeah, the Eat, Sleep, Dram, Replete tour that they do is fucking phenomenal. Equally, Glen Scotia do some really cool tours. Get down there, you will have so.
Yeah, I had a Glen Scotia last night actually because it's my old man's 60th, so like some of the family's up from England.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Pattison. And my dad loves whiskey, so he's got a few whiskies. So there was a kind of an impromptu whiskey tasting last night. With my dad and my uncle, and that was included. Glen Scotia was in it, which is actually the first time I've had Glen Scotia. I was like,
what'd you think?
Yeah, nice.
What dram was it?
I can't remember what age it was. I think it was maybe 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm really annoyed we don't have that white port here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we don't. I think we each have a bottle.
Yeah.
Actually, I might have a closed bottle up there we can maybe open.
Next.
It's
really good.
Off camera because it's not relevant to any of this, but just from a point of interest, I'd love for you to try it. Yeah, it's cool. Fair play. We can keep rambling on and on.
Oh, we could.
Off camera. Let's wrap it up for everyone at home. Liv, what we generally do is we give a buy or don't buy. Now, if we really like a dram, we might give it an oosh. And if we really hate a dram, we might give it a binnet. I think you're safe on that front. We will see.
Yeah, maybe.
We will see. Equally, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the first 4 whiskies. And whilst I'm not going to be giving my score on ours, we'd love for you to rate ours. And as brutally as you fucking want. We're going to give you a price. You give us an honest answer, whether you'd buy it or not. And we will see. So, starting with the Murray McDavid. This is a 5-year-old Manic Moor, single cask. Remind me of the wine cask again?
It's a Justinos Madeira.
Madeira. Okay. So a Madeira barrique, 60, potentially up to £70 RRP. But in that kind of region, yeah? I'm giving it a big fat buy. I think that is very, very cool. Yeah. Like I say, you've really changed my mind on Manic Moor, so thank you very much for that. Buy. 100%. Ian?
Yeah, I often find Madeira really either tannic or kind of sticky, this treads that kind of tightrope really nicely.
Yes.
Definitely a buy.
That's a good way of putting it. I like it.
Remind me of the price.
60,
RRP?
60 to 70 pounds.
It's an oosh from me.
Genuine.
It's a real oosh from me.
Oosh.
Yeah. I love those jammy, sweet, heavy drams, but for 5 years old, I would never have guessed that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what deserves the use for being that young and that delicious. Yeah.
Bang.
All day long.
David doing it right.
All
Steve's
day
eyes,
long.
I love it. Liv, what do you think of this dram? Obviously, you've
Well, yeah, I'd buy it.
well, your dad bought it, you bought it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you buy it again?
Yeah, I'd buy it.
Buy it again.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So it's a strong buy from all of us here on the Murray McDavid Manic More. We then moved on to the Flora and Fauna Strathmill. That's 12 years old, 43%. It's a buy from me. Look, I think this
How
is the
much?
sort of thing. To be honest, these bottles differ. A little
60
bit.
quid?
I think you're anywhere between 60 and 80 pounds.
Yeah.
I paid like 50.
Okay.
50.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's
I was going to say,
Round about that.
let
the
me.
Flora and Fauna ones always throw me. Maybe I'm pricing up a little bit in comparison to some of the
I
others.
bought a few Flora for 60 up. So, yeah.
But the Strathmill may be a bit cheaper.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so anywhere between sort of 50 and 70 pounds, we say? I buy it. I buy it at 70 pounds, to be honest. I think it's not the sort of thing that you are going to get overexcited about. It's not the sort of thing that you're going to be able to write notes about for days, but it should be on everyone's shelf. It's one of those unsung heroes, which I think was kind of the
You're
point of
looking
you
for-
bringing it, right? It's kind of an interesting part of your journey and an interesting part of anyone's journey to try a whiskey that you may not have heard otherwise that normally goes into blends. It's a buy from me.
Yeah. On
49,
Sorry.
50 quid.
Buy from you.
Yeah.
51,
Strong buy.
51.49 on malts,
51.49
on malts.com.
Fuck, buy two.
Yeah, I think that's a buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely, easy drinker.
Okay. Steve?
I'd buy it at 50 quid, 70 no.
No. Okay.
No.
But at £50,
But if it's 50 quid, absolutely.
Yeah.
right in the basket. Right, cool.
And it probably wouldn't last long, would it?
No.
To be honest, no. I mean, with guests as well, that's the sort of thing that you
Yeah.
popping right in your guest
It's
glass.
easy to hand out.
Savour some of my,
Yeah.
my cabinet glasses
Oh,
there.
I
and
don't know what you're
whatever.
doing there, mate.
No,
but-
I don't know, nothing really. I'm just hiding whiskies, mate. I'm hiding whiskies. Right, okay, we moved on to the North British. That was an 18-year-old single cask. Don't think it was cask strength, potentially. We're unsure. It was quite green. 48.4%. Whatever the fuck it was. Anyway. Douglas Ag, old in particular,
Yeah.
but exclusive to Liv's new employers, which is Whisky, based in Edinburgh. Again, massive shout out to Whisky for providing this bottle. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We will leave a link in the description. It's kind of a fine line for me. Liv, can you remind me the price of this one, please?
I know, I'm just thinking.
You're looking it up.
I'll find out 'cause I can't remember what they told me.
It was an interesting one. I think it's a challenge. I think it's the sort of thing that sparks conversation. And I think there's nothing wrong with a whiskey that sparks conversation. I'm
Grain
not
is
a
challenging
man-
by nature, though, right?
Go on, sorry.
Grain is challenging by nature, right?
I would disagree with that. I would
Really?
disagree with that. Our Gervan, was that challenging? No. That
Wait.
Thompson Bro,
Right.
what was that grain that you bought recently?
The Gervan.
84.95.
84.
Sorry.
84.95. So
So
that's right.
£85, give or take 5 pence. £85. You know what? I wouldn't buy that. I think it's an interesting one. I would buy a dram at a bar. I would want to share that with people. I think it's a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Ian.
Very, very similar thoughts. I think it would make if I was to buy it, it would be the kind of thing that I want to stick in a tasting, share it around with people, get some thoughts on. A really, really fun dram to have on an evening, especially as I said before, on a blind tasting.
Yes.
So, very close for me. I think it would be a buy in the right circumstance.
Okay.
If I was looking for an entire bottle by myself, probably just slip onto the don't.
Okay, cool. Stevie?
Yeah, I'm with you both on that. It would be a stretch at that price for me.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. Around the £60 mark for me, though.
Okay.
So-
that's quite a bit less now.
Well,
Wait, listen,
it's
I hear
20
you.
odd
I hear
quid,
you.
you know.
85 to 60
But
pounds.
for me, that's what I'd be comfortable paying for that
for that.
bottle,
Yeah, cool.
you know. Not to say it was a good, I enjoyed it. It was a good dram.
I think it's a great conversation.
Just price-wise,
a good conversation.
just a little bit up there for me. Personally.
Then your new employers, you've got to buy it.
Love
Love it.
No, I definitely
Cool.
think I'd buy it as a conversation.
You're selling it.
No, you know what? I think it is. It is that, right? And I think this is the thing. I don't think we need to be looking at every bottle of whiskey that we buy as like, this has to be perfect. It has to do everything that I want it to do. That Manic More, like I say, it was weird and I didn't enjoy every aspect of it, but it was challenging and I love it for that. That's why I would buy it.
Or by price either. As Liv mentioned earlier, it's about the taste, the liquid, what you enjoy at tastings, especially, So if you took price away, that would be, in the top 2 for me out of all of them. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. Sorry. Liv, did we get your opinion? Yeah, of course you bought it. Sorry. Apologies. Right. Glenfiddich 15. It's an easy buy for me.
Bye.
Bye. Yep. Everyone's going to buy that. Glenfiddich 15 is delicious. I know we slate Glenfiddich a lot, guys. It's a fantastic
We slate the 12. We don't slate Glenfiddich
but
as a
people here are
brand.
slating it. They think we're slating
The 12
Glenfiddich
only
as a whole.
as
I
a
think
brand.
What Liv brought into conversation here is it is a brand that is so much heritage, so much history. They have ambassadors with so much passion. Liv potentially to join the rungs at some point in her whiskey history, which is very cool. Look out for it. But also, they produce some really cool liquid. And just because we don't enjoy the 12, I think, Liv, you were saying you enjoy the 12?
Yeah.
And the 15 sings through and through. The fact that we're all buying it without even batting an eyelid. Get it in your cupboard. Get it in your glass. Enjoy it thoroughly. Moving on to the last one, which is obviously one of the whiskey brands. I'm not saying anything because I bottled this. I have an affinity.
Well, we've rated it as
I
well.
am most
before.
interested in your opinion.
Right.
Now, this bottle retailed at £395 a bottle. Be honest.
Sorry, I'm not going to buy it. Right,
No.
purely because
That's a lot of money.
not much a PT person.
Okay, so you don't enjoy that much anyway from the point of view.
And for me, it's not necessarily at this point in time in my price range.
Fucking right. Listen,
It's not in my price range either.
I think
so
once you
But I
hit
think it's
£100 a
interesting
bottle,
to
it gets
try.
interesting.
I'd buy a dram of it.
Hey, I appreciate that. You don't have to. We'll send you home with some if you want some more. That's absolutely fine. Thank you for trying it. It's really interesting to hear your point of view. It's a don't buy from Liv. Ian, would you buy that? Yeah?
You know the answer. I love it. It's probably my favorite evermore.
Yeah? I will take that. Stevie?
we've done this before, and it was a don't buy for me for price range. Just it's an expensive bottle, right? It's 400 odd quid.
I fucking hear that.
And I love Bamore. However, if I did have that money, I would be buying our Ben Nevis.
Fair play. Well, you wouldn't because it's sold out, but I hear what you're saying.
All right. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a lot of money. And
If you had the money, you'd spend it
I've spent
elsewhere
that-
because you've tried other drams that you prefer.
spent that sort of money on bottles before.
Completely
Not for me.
understand and very much appreciated. Definitely not in everyone's price range. But a cool way to wrap up. And very cool that at least you've tried a dram that's older than you live, which I like.
Wait.
Hey,
Yeah, I've tried drams older than me before. It's,
Oh, no,
it's not hard.
Sorry, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have.
But it's always good to-
lovely that
yeah.
we've been able to share one with you all.
Yes,
the same.
thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Liv, thank you so much for coming today, sharing
Yeah,
not
it's
only
awesome.
your amazing whiskey journey thus far, but also these 4 amazing drams. Everyone at home.
And the donuts.
Sorry, and the donut. I haven't had one yet. That's why
Yeah,
I'm
that's what we're doing
waiting.
next.
Get
I'm gonna
involved,
tuck in off camera. Don't look at me for the next
Come
10
on,
minutes.
hurry up, go on here.
But genuinely, everyone at home, just as a quick reminder, it's whiskey_liv on Instagram.
Yep.
And Liv'in The Dram is her amazing new podcast. I have listened to the first 2 episodes. Really, really cool. Give it a listen. There's a lot more than just us 3 chatting shite here in the podcast scene in the whiskey world. But thank you all for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Yes.
Slide Shavar.
Adios.
Yay.
Cool. Nice one, Liv.
Yeah.
All right.
Bursting.
Yeah.